I've been looking at the issue of cell phone radiation and health for nearly a decade, and the short answer is it's complicated. Radio frequencies for 2G and 3G and 4G phones, as well as 5G millimeter wavelengths, what's considered non-ionizing radiation. And what this means is that the radiation doesn't have enough energy to break apart DNA and cause disease like cancer. On the flip side, there's ionizing radiation, like what you get with X-rays or UV rays from the sun or gamma rays. And that kind of radiation produces so much energy that it does rip apart molecules and atoms, and that's what causes cancers. That's why they say you shouldn't have too many X-rays in your life, or why you should wear sunblock to prevent skin cancer. But here's where things get a little complicated. There's some research that suggests that non-ionizing radiation can actually cause changes in cells that could cause diseases like cancer. And in 2011, the World Health Organization actually looked at a study that showed a possible link between certain kinds of brain cancers and long exposure to cell phones. And that's why the WHO at that time classified cell phone radiation as a possible carcinogen. But even that organization, when they were looking at the data and the reports, said that the evidence was pretty weak. So they didn't go as far as to say that it definitely causes cancer. Most of the studies on cell phone radiation have been done on 2 and 3G technologies. So there really just isn't a lot of research out there on the effects of 5G millimeter wavelengths on health. So that's one issue. The other issue is millimeter wavelengths are very high frequency waves, and that means that they travel over very short distances and they can't penetrate through things like walls or trees. And that means that wireless carriers are going to have to deploy a whole bunch more of these radios to be able to cover any area with the service. So you're going to see lots of these 5G radios atop light poles and other buildings in cities. So whereas a cell tower might transmit a signal over a couple of miles, you've got 5G radios that will probably only reach a few city blocks. So you're going to have a whole lot more of these radios throughout a city. And that's a concern because a lot of activists say we're going to have a lot more of these radios emitting this radiation, and they're going to be a lot closer to people. So people don't really want a cell phone tower outside their kid's bedroom window while they sleep. So that's the big issue. A lot of the experts say these concerns are a bit overblown. The real dangers with this non-ionizing kind of radiation is that the heat gets absorbed into your body. And so the further away you are from a radio, the less likely you are to absorb that radiation. So people aren't going to walk around with a 5G base station strapped to their head. So I don't think people have to really be concerned about that. The other thing to keep in mind is that when you have a bunch of radios deployed in a very small area, the power is going to have to be relatively low. So otherwise they would interfere with each other. And the same goes for 5G handsets. They're going to be very low power too. So if they're low power and you're not right next to them, it's very unlikely that you're going to absorb much of that radiation. There are literally thousands of studies that have been done on the health effects of cell phone radiation. Some of these have been done by the industry, some of them have been done by activist groups, and some of them have been done by independent agencies. And one thing that's pretty clear is that more studies are needed. And not just what some experts say is junk science, but a real review of the effects that have already been seen in some of the reports, and also a hard look at what these mechanisms in non-ionizing radiation could be that could cause changes in cells.